In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. The topic of today's discussion is music. Don't panic, this is not a talk on Islam. I'm not going to tell you to stop listening to music. That's not my intention. This is something I personally feel about because when I was a teenager, a teacher of mine told me he completely stopped listening to music, and at that age, this is maybe 14 years old, I could not understand what he was saying. Like, how could you deprive yourself of such joy in your life? And I had my MP3 player with me like any other teenager all the time, and I kind of got angry at what he said. And then I grew up hearing comments like music is haram, and I was like, why? And in some other Islamic countries like my own, I live in Iran, there is a great deal of confusion. Like, they divide the music into haram and halal music, but nobody knows exactly what makes this music haram and what makes this music halal. And sometimes you find two in each group that are extremely similar. They sing about the same stuff, the tunes are the same. So I really wanted to know, and I kept researching. I would come up to comments like, if your music makes you get up and dance, it's bad music. But if the music brings you closer to God, that's good music. And obviously that made no sense, because today you see people get up and dance to all kinds of genres of music. What makes me want to dance is different from what makes someone else want to dance, and it's kind of funny to put it that way. So I really could not come to a conclusion that made sense. And since my religion is supposed to be the religion of thinking, the word to think and the command to think repeats in the Quran, I was not going to stop until I had a satisfying answer, and I finally did. I had a teacher who kindly explained things to me, and I wish he had years ago, before I exposed myself to all these kinds of music. And don't worry, I'm not going to come to the conclusion that says music is bad. Music is not bad. Music is just a powerful tool. You can use it to your benefit, or you can use it to harm you. So the way he explained it to me is like this. He said, whatever you expose yourself to, whatever that goes through your soul, through your eyes, any picture that you see intentionally or unintentionally, will forever change you a little bit, maybe a lot. And you notice that, like, sometimes you are praying or you are meditating or you're just doing your normal life, and suddenly these images pop up to your head and you're like, oh, where did this come from? And it's very hard to get rid of them. They just float in your mind and have their own control. And same thing with music, or the words that you hear and go through your ear, they also have an impact on you. Just like the food you put through your mouth, even if it's a little grape, it still adds calories and nutrition to you, and it changes your body a little bit. Same thing with the things that are less tangible and less obvious. You definitely know that music is powerful. For example, at times of war, you hear war music. War music is supposed to move you, make you want to go fight the enemy. And I watched a documentary where, like, American soldiers listen to hardcore rock before they go on a mission. And that's the danger of music. It's very powerful, that it has a control over you. And we are supposed to be the strongest beings on this earth. We're supposed to have the control of the other things. We are controlling the nature, using it to our benefit. We're controlling even the wildest animals. So we are not supposed to let this control go and let some phenomenon like music take our control. Music can make you cry when you're not even sad. You're very happy. One minute you play this track and it makes you want to cry, or it makes you want to daydream. And that's another danger of music. It puts you to a trance, just like when you drink something or when you use drugs. It can put you in a trance, and when you're in a trance, your soul becomes more vulnerable, more ready to accept any kind of energy, good or evil. And if you're not strong enough to filter the evil out, you will be exposed to that. And it also makes you, in that trance, it makes you want to daydream and fantasize. And the reason that is bad is usually music hits deep somewhere inside you, where you store all your memories hidden in a treasure box that you usually tend to stay away from. You don't want to open it up and bring all those emotions back, but music stirs up those emotions, and you start thinking about somebody who hurt you maybe years ago. Now that person probably doesn't even remember you, has his own life, but you recall that memory. Music helps you recover that memory, and the danger of it is every time you recall a memory hidden in you, it comes back stronger, because you add your own branches to it, your own spice to it. You start building this fantasy world around it, thinking, what if I did that in return? He's awful, maybe he wanted to hurt me. And you start like changing the stuff more, focusing on the negatives more, and it is definitely harmful in that sense. So today, what I'm saying, it's all over the internet. You can just research how they put subliminal messages in music and give it to you. It's like they decorate this evil with a beautiful woman who is singing and dancing for you, and we innocently play music in our cars. Lady Gaga is singing, Beyonce is singing, and we're like, okay, everybody's listening to that. They win awards for this. So what is it gonna do? It just makes my hard day a little bit easier. But that's not the case. Today's music is really, really dangerous. They don't even need to hide subliminal messages anymore. It's out there in the open. Because slowly over the years, there has been a plan to desensitize us to this kind of crap. Right now you listen to things that you say, okay, this, I mean, artistically, this music has no value. It's not even good music. The woman singing it was unknown to the world a couple of years ago, and she popped out of nowhere. You don't even know what happened. Who was she? She can't even sing. She's not even talented. Who is she? And now no matter what they do, because we've been desensitized slowly but surely, you've seen the amount of hideosity they do on the stage, and there is no limit to what they would do, exposing the world, exposing kids to it. And I see disturbing images of mothers playing Beyonce for their babies in diapers, and when they dance, the mother loves it and films the baby. I've been to like 9-year-old birthday parties at my age, at my time, when I was young. Yes, kids would throw birthday parties, dance, be happy, but now it's like children are losing their innocence to this music. They start imitating the dance moves of adults, seductive dance moves, really disturbing to watch. An 8-year-old or even a toddler try to mimic that. And combine that with the music videos. I mean, the words are disturbing. They encourage you to cheat, to use drugs, to use violence. Sky is their limit. They will not stop at anything. Just so much evil. Same thing in Iran. All the music is about how you hurt me, now I'm gonna get you. Or describing a woman. It's usually one of these two categories. Describing a woman's body, or talking about revenge and how hurt they've been. Now combining that with the music videos and the hidden images in there, the symbolism in that, it doesn't need to be hidden anymore. It's out there now today. You get even a more powerful evil force. And I think if you love yourself, and if you care about your soul and spirituality, you would definitely go on a music diet. Just like you don't eat bad food, you try to look for healthful food. The same thing with what goes through your eyes and your ears. What I did was I made a mistake. Like I said, okay, this music is bad in an obvious way. You don't even have to be religious or spiritual to agree with me that this kind of music I'm describing is bad. So what I did is I went to some Sufi music because I was really interested in Persian poetry and traditional music. And I said, this can't be bad because the lyrics is taken from ancient poetry that's mostly written about God, and the music is beautiful and moving. And definitely it brings me closer to God. So for a while I limit myself to that kind of music. But my teacher explained to me that even that can be dangerous because again it will put you in a trance. And it did for me. I would start crying, sobbing into tears, wanting to be reunited with God, and couldn't wait to die. And although it seems spiritual and nice maybe, but it was really destructive because I wanted to stop living my normal life, and that's not what God wants for me to do. And another thing is music slowly starts changing your taste. You will get used to anything that they feed to you and you will not complain. You would ask for more because now you have changed without even noticing. You're a new person in nature, and that is really, really scary. Maulana Rumi has a story in his Masnavi about a guy who worked in the leather bazaar, and he was always surrounded by sheepskin and blood and very, very bad smells. So one day this man mistakenly walked into the perfume bazaar, and he could not take the smell, so he passed out. And the shop owners gathered around him and gave him perfume to sniff and to wake him up, bring him back, but nothing would work on him. His brother was passing by and saw this happen. He told the guys around him, he said, "Move away, this will not work on my brother. He is used to the smell of shit. He's used to bad smells." So he gave him a piece of shit. Sorry for my language, that's the language he uses. And as soon as he sniffs that, he wakes up. And what Rumi means by this analogy is that the brother's taste had changed, that the good in the world, the perfume, what is supposed to be pleasant to you, was not pleasant to him, would put him to sleep. But what was considered disgusting and evil and bad brought him back to life. And that happens to our soul too. We may be well and alive in our body, but dead inside, dead in our soul, and not even knowing it. In my experience, I remember this because when I lived in Iran, we were very careful about what to watch. We didn't have a satellite, and the TV was pretty much safe. I was a teenager back then, but when we moved to the US, slowly, very slowly, without even us noticing, we got desensitized to watching, like, first of all, it was like innocent scenes, maybe a guy and a girl kissing. You could brush that off maybe. I would never watch that with my parents before, but slowly it became okay, and we ended up one day, I was sitting noticing, oh, we're watching Jerry Springer together, and it doesn't feel weird, and that's when I noticed something has gone wrong inside me. Anyways, going back to the topic of music, what I suggest you do is what you would do if you ate something bad. If you have been exposed to bad food, what do? You go to the doctor probably tells you to take it slow a couple of days, eat light food. If you are addicted to music, if you're one of those guys who always carries an iPod everywhere, any chance they get, they listen to something, I suggest for a while try at least to filter your music list. Listen to the things that are not so bad in an obvious way. They don't promote abuse and violence and sex and all those things. Try to filter it. Maybe listen to music without words, just pure music. what I did was I totally went on a music fast for a while. For a couple of months, I tried to stop listening to all sorts of music. And when I confirmed that with my teacher, he said that's the right thing to do. If you are not yet sure what is good and what is bad, just stop it altogether until he promised he will one day explain to us how you can differentiate this good and bad music. And let me see if I didn't miss out any points. And since it's scary, because sometimes these verses that they keep repeating in their music sticks to your head, you cannot get rid of them. You wake up one day and find yourself repeating them over and over for hours. It is a scary thing, and it is not very easy to remove. So again, Rumi has another analogy. He says if you have a glass of vinegar, which is an analogy to your mind, you have over the years piled up so many negative things in there, not knowing, maybe knowingly, maybe unknowingly, and the only way what you do is you cannot get rid of this vinegar altogether, but you can keep adding sugar to it, adding honey to it, and slowly, what is the sugar and honey? Exposure to good things, watching meaningful stuff, documentary, something that would change you, something that would add to your life. And there in my life there has been setbacks, and I noticed this, like sometimes I crave going back and listening to some of the things I used to listen to, and that is an alarm for me that there is something wrong inside and I am maybe away from God, and that is true. And how you notice this is, for example, in my religion, when my taste starts changing, I start, whatever is holy is negative to me. I cannot stand listening to the Quran. I want to repel it, for example. But as soon as I go on my music fast again, I crave the spirituality. That's how you could tell if you're on the right track. And sometimes you are in a situation, for example, yesterday when I was taking these notes, it's very ironic that the guy had the music on, and it was this horrible negative music about a guy just crying over a girl non-stop. And when you're put in a situation that you're exposed to music without you even having asked for it, and it's rude for you to tell the driver maybe to turn it off, what I do is I start saying zikr. Zikr is saying the names of God, maybe. For example, in my case, I say God is great, God is greater, God is greater than whatever evil this music is exposing me to. But you can start meditating, thinking about good things, asking God to protect you against whatever harm this is doing to you. And the most important thing is try to find a spiritual teacher. I cannot emphasize this enough. Without the help of a teacher, this path is almost impossible to go through. And then again, I want to emphasize that what I'm talking about is not only meant for religious people or the people who care about spirituality. I am sure every little person in this planet cares about having a better life for himself, for her children. Everybody does, naturally. So just give yourself a healthy diet of movies and music and food, and that will definitely make you happy. And if you're religious, it will definitely make God happy, because He wants to see you happy and healthy. Okay, with that said, I would love to hear your comments on this. Thank you for listening. Bye until next time.